Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the SimSN podcast, the show where I make mock drafts with some of your favorite people. And today I'm joined by two returning guests, Dearden SageBow. They're back. Hey, guys.
What is up, beautiful people? It is your boy Dearden, uh, owner of the Tennessee Titans, head coach of maybe Miami or something.
And clearly, we have SageBow over here in this panel. Go Birds and draft all of the Utah players because if you don't, the Big 12 will come at you and your shins.
Let's go. Off the rails already.
Perfect.
There were never any rails.
Rails. What are rails?
What rails?
Thank you guys for being on the show. We have not one, not two, but three mock drafts to share with you tonight. We're going to go through the first round, talking through each pick and our picks for each one. So we've each got a mock draft, 32, and we're going to go through them one by one, and that's the show. And whatever else we get up to in the meantime, I have no idea, but that's the goal. Those are the rails, I guess, to answer Sage's question. God, am I gonna have to keep this up for 2 hours? Okay.
No, you don't have to.
Anyway, draft is a week away by the time this goes up. It's we've got combine, we got pro day. No, I'm sure some people have already been scouting. We're gonna give our final mock drafts right here for everybody. So, starting at number one. Overall, New England Patriots are on the clock, and where do they go? I don't know. Okay. I don't know if you want to rotate this per pick, or just I'll just start off since I'm already talking. I've got them taking Andy Texera out of Texas Tech. I think they did Oliveros Snow services with a pass blocking line for a scrambling quarterback. They need a guy who can make some space in the running game. And I think Texera is a perfect fit because he's a great run blocker who is also a balanced archetype. So I think he's no slouch in the pass game, but he can help Oliveros as a runner. It's a boring pick, but it's a great cornerstone. If you've already got a franchise quarterback, you can't ask much better than a standout left tackle at number one overall.
I think I'll jump in here with the boring part because I 100% agree with everything you said. We independently have Andy Teixeira, offensive tackle, Texas Tech, as 1-1. And I'm going to preface this with a sort of caveat that the Patriots should 110% be shopping this pick until the literal last minute they're on the clock. And we didn't mock any trades in any of our drafts. We just went straight through, and I'm sure we can talk trade stipulations, what should happen, who should do it, when they should do it. But the Patriots should trade here if they can get a suitor that will pay them the requisite price, in the sense of they are sticking with Michael Oliveros, and the top sort of prospect in terms of value appears to be a quarterback or a wide receiver, two positions they don't necessarily need right now. Turning back to my own way too early mock, I had another offensive tackle run blocking sort of thing in there. The two things I have stated here are protect the pass, open up the run game. Two things they weren't seemingly able to do, with Oliveros kind of leaving him out to dry a little bit. As the season went on, Teixeira can do that. It's an unsexy pick. This could be Josh Nunez. However, I have him falling due to a poor pro day. Teixeira rises to the second highest average blocker at the NFL Combine and the ninth average highest overall at the pro day.
Well, we can't all be in agreement, so I went with defensive end Chris Pouncey out of New Mexico. Now, has anyone heard of his name before the combine? Maybe not. The Lobo product's not very great at statistics, but he is really good at the Underwear Olympics. I mean, he had one of the all-time combine performances. And both of New England's defensive ends are 31. Now, does this help them score points? Probably not, but I really like Ward, and I think with Oliveros and the power of speed option right, they may be able to get a couple touchdowns here or there, and Pouncey's just a long-term solution along the defensive line. I think he's one of the bona fide blue chippers in this class, and very worthy of the 1-1 pick.
All right. Moving to Baltimore at number two.
I will go again.
Go
because
for it.
nobody's stopping me. Matt Van Roten, the Doak Award winner, champion for Nittany Lions. He may have had 50 carries for 100 yards in that championship game, but by God, those were important 100 yards. I was really excellent, and I don't think anything of DeAndre Weeders, the guy that the Ravens traded for from the Steelers. I think, especially with a young quarterback, you need to have some semblance of a running game to make it just an interception party. And Matt Van Roten can do it all. He can rush on the outside, he can rush on the inside, he can catch the ball, he can run good routes, he can pass block. He's got high football IQ. He's just one of those guys that's good at everything, and that's probably exactly what Savage needs here, heading into his sophomore season.
Very nice.
Say the line again, Dearden. I agree, but with a twist. I have another halfback, but not Matt Van Roten, who I mocked to Baltimore earlier in the year. I have James Livingston as someone who really rises up past the Doak winner here as a triple threat to sort of add some depth and flavor to Baltimore's almost predictably one-dimensional offense this past season. Like, poor halfback play was one thing. It was Lemon, Weeders, anybody who really threw out there. Is that a running back problem? Is that a Baltimore needed a running back who could actually sort of move the ball through in that run, reception, and in Livingston's case, the reigning Jet Award winner in special teams? He's the third best pure rusher at the combine with the best at the pro day. He was the best amongst receiving backs at both. And crucially for the Baltimore Youth Project, he's 22. So where other teams are going to be taking, 23-year-olds here, he can really just set in. They don't have to draft another running back. They don't have to worry about running back for the next 4 years, maybe even beyond if his, regression doesn't really kick in at the typical running back years. And he's someone who I think we've still got the best to see from him. At Virginia Tech, he got probably about 30% of the offensive looks with the way that Robert Kahn operated as a field general in that offense. So it'll be really interesting to see him truly unlocked in a Baltimore Ravens offense that could use a player like him as well as on special teams.
Yeah. Well, as is quickly becoming our tradition, I'm going to go last and disagree with everybody. I looked at their cornerback room and I saw Jeremy Cabral had some stats last year and no one else left had any. You need at least a couple cornerbacks, and I don't think you can ever have too many. And if you're running a zone scheme like they are, Aaron Mays out of Tulsa had a perfect 10 at the combine. He ran a 4.440, had a 32 Wonderlic. That's, technique, that's speed, which you can't teach, and that's a little bit of everything. The stuff you can teach and the stuff you can't. Desperately need some cornerbacks in there, and I think he jumps in and makes a difference right away. So I went with Aaron Mays, putting on the defensive side. I don't believe in their running back room either, but it seems like they do, looking at their contract situation, so I'm guessing they're going to go in a different direction.
Speaking of Wonderlic Pierce. Oh, sorry, Sage. Go ahead.
No, you're all you.
I would say, speaking of a Wonderlic, it's a segue into our next pick. Do anyone off the top of your head know who had the lowest Wonderlic at the combine based on like a high overall projection?
No.
It's a quarterback. Does that narrow it down at all?
Quarterback, low Wonderlic. Is it Leathersitch?
No, but good guess.
Ah.
I found this out today while I was scrolling through all the combine stats, and it blew my mind.
Who is it?
It's Reed from West Virginia. He scored a 9.
Wow. Ooh.
Single digit. 9.
That's not great.
Oh.
Anyway, sorry, I wanted to interject there because I believe, and I'm going to try and jump in here as the first one because I don't want to say I agree again. And we all have the exact same player for the exact same pick, and I don't think that's a surprise considering I think at least one other mock that's been published also says the same thing. And that's for Arizona, Kyung-Hui, quarterback, U.S. Naval Academy. Patrick Johnson, Boone Edwards, Boba Sims, they're ghosts of franchise experiments pasts. And while there's potential merit, at least in my opinion as a former Cardinals administration member, at getting the best player available, particularly when there's this like highly touted class coming up next season, he just falls into their lap there in exactly where Arizona wanted a quarterback 2 drafts ago when it was the Travis Neebel sweepstakes at 1-3. And God forbid they didn't learn from the lesson there of just, let's say, taking a quarterback where they can get one. He's 22. He's a player who's proven that his combine and pro day stats make him worth it. I think in the way too early mock, just waxed poetic about his collegiate stat base. It's like 10,000 plus yards, a whole handful of touchdowns, and a decently strong touchdown interception rate. He's going to have a full decade, maybe a decade and a half ahead of him at quarterback, and I think the Cardinals would be remiss not to make this pick here, presuming there's not a trade made at 1 or 2 to leapfrog them for this pick.
Yeah, I mocked them a quarterback in my midseason mock. It was a different quarterback at the time. I wasn't expecting this kind of combine performance, but yeah, looking at the numbers, looking at the need, Puna Edwards threw 21 interceptions. I don't want to hear another word about his football IQ ever again. You need a quarterback. You're in the top 5. Like you say, an absolute workout warrior shows up. Don't overthink it. Take the quarterback. Take your quarterback of the future and build around him.
Yeah, I heard there's a couple users on real fake tweets that got banned for life for posting death threats to Cardinals owner K Green. Something about him trying to actually attempt to win games next season. So, yeah, please the pick here. The Cardinals are terrible. They suck. They're awful. I would say more, but I think Pierce's YouTube channel might get banned. Let's get the franchise quarterback. He's right there. He looks really good. The him dynasty rises.
Absolutely. All right. Well, can't wait to see what the Cardinals actually do now that all 3 of us have said for sure what we think they should do. But for now, we'll move on to number 4, to the Indianapolis Colts, and I'll say the Colts made a big splash by trading away the Sims' best receiver, so they have some space to take probably the best prospect in the draft, and according to my sheet, maybe ever. That's Tyler Prochnow out of Baylor. I mean, the production's all there. The stats are all there. The combine and pro day said exactly what we think, that he's absolutely phenomenal. And then if Skylar Simmons can't even throw to him, can't force the ball to him, maybe 2028 they can talk about what they do at that position. But whoever they get then will have a top tier wide receiver set up to grow with him. There's needs on the defensive line for this team, but again, at this point, I at number 4 you take the best overall player, especially when it also happens to be a need.
Yep, I'm gonna chime in right here with the old-fashioned. I agree. Who's throwing Tyler Prochnow the ball? Who cares? He's really, really good. He's really, really, really good at football, and I can't exaggerate just how good he is. Second team All-American. Was an absolute killer for the Baylor Bears. Man, they already have Mitchell Reynolds and Taylor Mortensen to pound that inside right run. Man, you just need something else. Prochnow is a lot of things else. Don't overthink it. Get the best guy.
We couldn't fully agree on 2 picks in a row, so I'm actually going on that other side of the ball that Pierce mentioned. I'm going Douglas Dimmadome Jr., full government name, defensive end out of Tennessee. Because like wide receiver, the Indianapolis defensive end position specifically is 30 and 31, I believe, in terms of their age. And when you have young offenses in your division that have somehow found out how to win games by scoring points, whether that's pretty, whether it's not, in terms of teams like Houston, Jacksonville, and with the not pretty Tennessee, you got to stop it somehow, whether that's through the air or on the ground. You got to stop it. And Dimmadome does that with, the top pass rush, run stop combine numbers, with the top pass rush at a pro day as well, and a third amongst defensive ends at run stopping at his pro day. So he's top 5 across everything, top in 3 of these 4 categories. He is the guy to have right there at that position, and I understand Tyler Prochnow is this fantastical wide receiver. I got the exact same flack for letting him fall past, I think, 4 in my way too early mock. I think there are other wide receivers they can get who are also very good later in the draft, but this defensive end, defensive tackle sort of side of the class doesn't have the same depth, and I think that's where they go here to just secure that.
Awesome. All right.
Dearden, go again. You get this.
I'm
next
going
pick.
again because I think you did say it earlier, Sage, but did someone say speed option right? Cincinnati here goes wild, and I think we all have him eventually mocked. I'm going with Daniel Johns, a fullback from East Tennessee State here for the Bengals because he's not just a fullback. He's going to be a running back. He's going to be RJ 2.0, and we all know it. Because whether it's Frazier, Miranda, or Curvin, we have no idea who it's going to be lining up under center. The Bengals are still built for this rushing attack with its offensive line construction of run blockers, and Cincinnati just really ought to take that strength and just build on it. And selecting the best pure rusher available, despite his lack of collegiate production, because, surprise, he played at East Tennessee State, and AI coach doesn't like fullback. He's going to slot in as either a fullback or a halfback and do absolute bits for the Bengals from this season and onwards. And again, I think it goes without saying he's also 22. 5-star guy, this pure rusher. Go for it. Take it. 1-5. FCS love.
All right. In a similar position, I think Cincinnati might pull a trade here if they can. They have a lot of holes. Maybe if you can get more draft capital out of it. But if you're going to spend the pick, you want a guy who could be part of like a punch play, some guy who can build a whole system around. So I'm going with Matt Van Roten, but a similar idea. One of the best rushers, and particularly the best outside rusher at the combine. And Cincinnati in particular, one thing they do have is good tackles. So yeah, just flood the outside. Matt Van Roten running to the outside with that 4.37 speed. And we saw in Houston when Johnson was still there, we saw Nebel and Johnson together rushing for like 3,000 yards in a season. Like, hey, well, if you got Curvin, you got Van Roten, you got a couple of good run blocking tackles, yeah, do that. Have a defense say, yeah, we know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to run outside with one of these two, try and stop us. And then, put all your eggs in that basket, at least for a season while you build the other stuff. So Van Roten is my pick for the best outside runner. But, similar thing. If you're going to take one guy, double down on one thing you can do and just punch that repeatedly.
I went with the touchdown machine from Tennessee, Mr. Joe Williams himself. Joe Will was a really productive receiver and runner for the Vols. His senior season that we just watched was one of the best of all time. It's kind of overshadowed by all of the high-powered offense that the Vols have. But man, yeah, just let's go bread and butter, speed option right. Curvin's really good at that. He's proven he's really good at that. Let's get him a running mate. He's got good offensive linemen ahead of him. I don't know if I can name a single other Bengals player. I didn't even realize Miranda was there. So with Joe Will and Curvin, I can name two. Good luck, Exacco.
I get a speed option right tally counter going in the corner. I think we all said it in our analysis there, whether it's a joke or not.
Awesome.
Oh man.
At number 6, we have the Los Angeles Rams with the pick that Houston traded them last year as part of the trade that ultimately became Kerwin Urias. So where do the Rams go at number 6? As a Super Bowl champ with a top 10 pick.
I'll start here because for me it's easier and it's a little different. I have Tyler Prochnow, Baylor, wide receiver. They're not going to select an offensive lineman. It makes too much sense, and obviously it's Baylor. It's vivid. Their guy falls to them there. Obviously not in your mocks, but in mine does. They take him. There's not really much else to say there. Doesn't need explanation.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go. Miles Chowdhury, defensive end, Minnesota. He's young and he's been a very, very productive edge defender for many, many years in the Big Ten. Minnesota's been a really good team in the Big Ten. One of those good but not great squads that always consistently has great seasons and doesn't make the playoff. And Chowdhury was a big part of that. He's really dominant along the defense. You look at the Rams team, man, they're old everywhere. William Poku, he's 31. Richard Lucia is 33. He's basically, way past his prime, totally not the same age as me. Declining health, high cholesterol, cancer is just around the corner. So yeah, Chowdhury, let's get young with someone that's very talented.
Yeah, similar thought, different name. Douglas Dimmadome Jr. still on the board in my mock, so he's going to the Rams. I talk all the time about how they desperately need new offensive linemen, but now their entire roster is also old and needs replacing. So I'm actually gonna zig instead of zag for once and say, as has been talked about before, just the absolute best all around tackle. They desperately need youth on that defensive line, as Sage said. Yeah, need some young bodies on both lines. In this case, I think for what's available with Dimmadome still on the board, best choice for them going forward. Number 7.
I want Pierce to make his food reference right here. Yeah, you need to lead this one.
Oh, yeah. At number 7, I have Minnesota taking Kevin Robles, inside linebacker of Tulane. I don't know if Robles had like some bad deviled eggs before the combine or what happened. I think that entire the whole linebacking core, I think just had some kind of, I don't know if it was bad sushi or takeout or what happened. The whole class just seemed to tank. But Robles, the rest of his resume, his grades, his production is too good for me to ignore. Fast, he's strong, smart, he can tackle, he can cover, he can rush, he can read the quarterback, he can do whatever you need to do. Just teams that have needed linebackers have been waiting for guys of his caliber to come out of the draft. And I've been saying it all season that he's going to go top 10, and that this is the type of guy you might even trade for, which is wild to say the way the sim is constructed now. But there are enough teams that need linebackers and have been waiting for linebackers that someone might even make a move to get a guy like Robles. So he's my pick at number 7 for the Vikings.
I am going to follow you with a standard I agree. If anyone was around for the early parts of the 2026 season, one of the legendary memes is Sheen from Jimmy Neutron holding, Ultraman. As K Green gushed on and on about Kevin Robles. It's the 87th time you've mentioned Robles today, buddy. He's a great meme, but he's also a good player. He's really, really athletic, being a field general archetype. He's very cerebral. He can kind of do whatever you ask him to do, and I'm pretty confident that he's going to be a hit. He may not have the highest highs just because the way that linebacker overalls are construed in the sim currently. But I think he'll be a really good player, and when you compare him to his peers, I'd be hard-pressed to find a better linebacker in this class than him.
I 100% agree with both of you in that linebacker is a need for Minnesota at this current juncture. I think on my sort of team needs or, positions of need, I have both inside and outside linebacker there alongside just one other position. However, all that said, I'm going with that other position here. And that's Steel Blue, tight end, Kansas, early top 10 pick. And two things make me think that. Number one, Minnesota's gone hard in terms of offensive reinforcements already this offseason with their trade for James Blank. It seems like getting Cynic sort of offensive outlets, reinforcements to get him to play up to his overall is a priority. And this is a sort of administration favorite pick. I, don't need to say twice about Bundy and the Sheen meme for Steel Blue, as well as other tight ends out of Kansas. And the other thing being that the best linebacker prospects across the board in this class are just a malice. for what Minnesota's been working with on defense and what they seem to be working at. And I think that they could very easily grab someone, fits their scheme, fits the way they play, at linebacker, even though it's a sort of top end class at a diminished position at their second round, maybe even their third round pick, based on previous drafts and how those have gone. So tight end's the answer for me here.
Nice. Dearden, you want to start us off for number 8 with the New York Jets having traded up?
Yeah, they traded up for someone or something, and it's gonna, remain to be seen about whether that person's still there, depending on all our mocks. But I have Caleb Murphy, the safety, either free or strong, from Virginia, going here. He's versatile, boasted an illustrious collegiate career, plus top 2 in zone coverage numbers at both the Combine and the ACC Pro Day. He fits their needs with safety, adds that second position. He's their guy right here. It's a no-brainer for me. Just take the guy that fits.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Caleb Murphy, just a perfect, a rare perfect meeting of need and skill. They need a free safety. They don't need a strong safety, but hey, dual position never hurts. Sub 4.4 40, great zone score. Like 37, I think, Wonderlic. Crazy high, crazy smart. It's exactly what you need. And if they didn't trade up for him, then it's kismet, because he's exactly what they need. And if he's there, they should take him.
I did not meet the mold this time. I went with wide receiver. Patrick Hernandez, Nebraska. They got Jeremiah West. They've got a really weird room of guys. Will Hoover's really good overall. He's got good speed, route running. He's still a red zone threat. Man, I think to maximize West, you kind of need to be in that realm where you're throwing it in like a verticals or an air raid. Just kind of get a lot of touches out to the outside receivers. I think Hernandez is a really, really good boundary receiver in this class. They got a lot of guys in that room. They can always get more. I'm going Hernandez.
Nice. All right. Number 9 would be the Tampa Bay's pick. That belongs to the Detroit Lions as part of the trade last year for Tampa Bay, going up to number 2. Lions have their first round pick. Who wants this one?
I think yeah.
Wait, 3, 2, 1. We're gonna count it off. Who did you guys draft?
Oh,
right. 3, 2, 1. Offensive tackle John
Nunez.
Yeah.
Hooray! Ball State.
We did it.
Go Pickle Man.
That's all. No analysis.
Yeah, no analysis. We're done. He's really good. And yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Good at pass block, good at run block. Only 22 years old. Man, the Detroit Lions are also really, really good, and more importantly, they have Tremaine Craig. So let's just get a guy that's a proven road grader out in front of him and let Craig do even more damage.
Yeah. This is the second mock draft of mine where Nunez was almost number 1. So I think at 9 he's great value and exactly what they need. And yeah, huge return on investment for moving down last year.
Again, couldn't agree more. I think without that poor pro day, Nunez very easily could have been the 1-1 here. So again, to get him at 1-9 is great value for money. In addition to the fact that this isn't even their pick to begin with, it's the NFL Combine's best blocker, joining that massive dual threat offense. I mean, there's not much more to be said there other than he's going to be outstanding and amazing in Honolulu Blue.
Nice. All right. Well, from 9 to 10, and from complete agreement to very different ideas, we go down to the Saints at number 10. I have them going Hisashi Rudock, outside linebacker from Penn State. I know off-ball linebackers can sometimes not bring in the big stats in the sim the way other guys can, but they need help at that second level. He's a coverage guy who's what they run. Crushed his combine, great metrics, great Wonderlic. So, linebackers, they get a lot of metrics into that overall, which can keep them low, but I think he's got a lot. And his Rudock, I'm forgetting now. I want to make sure I get this. If he's got Oh yeah, and dual position as well, so we can cover that entire second level wherever you need him. Um, so yeah, I'm going with Rudock for help on the defensive side.
I went with running back James Livingston, Virginia Tech. I think Dearden's already had him taken early on, but yeah, the reigning Jet Award winner goes here. I think Landrum is still really, really good, really, really promising, but the time's ticking. You can only be promising for so many years before you're just a dud. He's got the receivers out in front of him. Let's get him a running back that can also catch, that can also be dynamic in the running game. Just kind of take the pressure off of Okoye and let him, kind of mellow out. Don't let everyone focus on the passing game. Let him throw the ball against some run sets and see how he does. I think Livingston's a great fit.
Agree with like 90, actually 95, 99% what you just said, Sage, but I'm taking it at the other angle. I've got Miles Hernandez, offensive tackle, Tennessee. New Orleans have been a strategic impasse in that they've got one of the most prolific college passers in history at the helm in Landrum, and they've been loading up on run blocking offensive linemen via the draft and persist with a balanced offensive attack. Just stop it. Just give the man the keys to the offense. Like, let him go full Georgia Tech that final season and let him throw it, 70,000 times a game. Get him that offensive tackle that he needs to sort of shore up that end. And that's Miles Hernandez in the sense of he'll do plenty to buy him time, particularly when he's on the opposite end of possibly one of the best offense tackles this league has ever seen in Christian Barraclaw. And just watch him finally emerge onto the league scene.
Awesome.
I'm going to lead the charge. Number 11, San Francisco 49ers. Guess who? Also Miles Hernandez, offensive tackle, Tennessee. I think he's the best left tackle in this class, just straight up. Especially after he combined, he's big, ugly, protected Brandon Savage for many years, and whoever's holding the jock strap now. Uh, Scott Romero went number 1 overall last season. Man, protect your guy. He's already got a great running back in Vontae Nebel. They've gotten productive players on offense, and on defense they have Bobby Gonzalez. What more do you need? Let's just keep Scott Romero upright.
Piggyback it here with someone that you're familiar with, Sage. I've got Francisco Santiago, offensive guard, Utah. I mocked the Niners Santiago in the way too early, and I'm going to do it here too. They've got to protect Scott Romero, but they've also got to block for Vontae Nebel. I think in the Niners' balanced offensive attack, getting someone who can do both and do it at probably the best in the class as a balanced guard in terms of blocking average despite his lackluster pro day. That just, it's a 1-to-1. It makes too much sense. They're committed to that style of offense. Take the best guy who can help you do that, especially when you're, filling in this sort of youth movement after parting with some older offensive linemen.
I actually went with Chris Pouncey, defensive end of New Mexico. 49ers have spent a lot of draft capital on that offense, particularly on skilled players, but also guys like Ruby Stewart. So I want to see them put some work on defense as well. Malcolm Conley had a real breakout year last year at defensive end, so putting him and Pouncey together, that's a terrifying combo for years to come. Pouncey is 273 pounds. He ran a 4.48 40, which is terrifying to imagine, let alone see rushing at you. So yeah, I have them building up that defensive line, and then him and Conley, I think, can do a lot of work on the defensive side. Let that offense continue to develop with all those young skilled players they've drafted in the past few years. Number 12.
All right, awkward silence. Let's end it. To the Atlanta Hawks. No, I'm just kidding. To subsequent Atlanta Falcons at number 12. I went with Daniel Johns, fullback, East Tennessee State. Kind of like what Dearden echoed early on about our most talented fullback. I don't think he's really a fullback. I think he's more of a running back. He's going to do a lot of good things in the pros. Falcons got a couple young running backs already on their roster, and as much pain and heartache Sharice Hinojosa caused my own personal team in the Big 12, I don't think he's a very good pro player. I think he was a really good college player, and Johns is an instant upgrade over that. who's the Falcons quarterback? I don't know. But Johns is really good, and they can give him the ball 25 times, and they will score a couple points.
I went with Steel Blue, tight end Kansas. I don't know if Rashawn Lyons really is the guy or whoever's going to be, but if you think he is, surround him with weapons. Blue 4.3, 140, 48 on the bench, 8 or better in blocking and both receiving. Just a phenomenal tight end prospect that I could easily see going in the top 10, but if he's still there, as he is in my mock, I have him getting another offensive weapon there. So Steel Blue for me to the Falcons.
Not a perfect 3 out of 3 in terms of repeat picks, in that grabbing somebody who someone else already has selected. I've got Hisashi Rudock, linebacker, Penn State. The Falcons linebacker corps just isn't getting any younger. It's a simple fact. So they pulled the trigger here to take one of the more exciting linebacker prospects on the year and a national champion. To regurgitate and re-echo what Pierce was saying, he's a off-ball guy who absolutely crushed his combine. 38 Wonderlic is, that's like, what, 4 and a bit Zahn and Reeds? Like, that's insane. You get 4 guys for the price of 1. Or 1 guy for the price of 4. Analogies. But the point is, he's got a fantastic combine in Pro Day where he averaged in the top 10 in all categories amongst all eligible front 7 players. So not just linebackers, defensive linemen as well. And, that makes him a no-brainer first choice or first round selection at an unpopular positional pick.
Yeah. All right, now it gets real fun because at number 13 is the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to do in the draft?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I didn't know if you'd want to go first, but go for it.
As the owner of the worst team of the 3 of us, it is my great privilege to draft. Who did I pick for us? Wide receiver Brian Walker, Penn State. He's really, really fast. 4.42 40, won a national championship, and the Eagles are all about trying to win games. We just went and got Cecilio Fuentes to replace our, belabored quarterback Andrew Moncrief and the elderly Aaron Poole. Let's go grab our guy a weapon. I think he is a good fit for what we do offensively, and we hope to be able to push the ball down the field, get some explosive plays, and he'll fit that really well.
I have you guys going with Daniel Johns. I figure Fuentes has a football IQ of 90. Put him in the backfield with Al-Sadek and Johns, and the 3, and have Fuentes figure out which of the 3 of you is getting the ball, and just bamboozle the defense because, So that just an absolute backfield of doom, and Fuentes can run it with his crazy big brain, and the rest of the league can figure out how to stop it.
I have the Eagles selecting a second Nittany Lion in a row for myself on my mock draft, and another Nittany Lion in relation to Sage's selection. I've got Bobby Torero, defensive end, Penn State. The Birds have no shortage of D linemen. They got 9 roster right now with 4 DNs and 5 tackles and a 3-man front. However, 3 of those 9 are in contract years, and another 2 are pushing that age 30 mark, the dreaded age 30 mark, where folks can really start to decline. Having selected another sort of dual defensive end, defensive tackle in Kareem, I think he broke his bleeping back, James, last season. The precedent exists there, in my mind, for the Eagles to kill 2 proverbial birds with 1 stone. Torero, he's a top 10 pick in a lot of mocks that we've seen so far. He's too good to pass up here, and their defensive line is set for the next decade.
They're all great selections, and I will be scouting these boys.
You're welcome.
Mr. Pierce, do you want to do the honors at 14?
At 14, the Cleveland Browns select Bobby Torero, defensive end. He's a dual type. We already have a dual type in Zen and Huff. So this just becomes the ultimate deadly shell game of where are we going to put our linemen and what are you going to do about it. Torero had a 7.5 or better in both defensive end drills. The only other guy that did that was Dimmadome, who already went in top 5. Between Torero and Huff and then Clinton Gregerson, who we picked up, we got 3 just big body guys to gum up the defensive line and make it hard to run against. which is in the AFC North. You got to be able to defend the run. So
I went with one of the combine's highest risers, center Jeff Walker. Houston, Big 12, Big 12, Big 12. I don't think it may be an exaggeration. This guy's in that Ruben Shazier tier of centers. He's really, really strong, really, really agile, really, really smart, and really, really good at blocking. Um, the Browns already have a bunch of interior offensive linemen, but their only true center is 34. And so, man, if he's at center and Blake LaFell is not, and or Gohara is really talented as well. He can be a guard. He can move them anywhere around. Jeff Walker can be a running back or fullback. We can just do some really, really fun things. But I think he's such a good overall player that, Pearson or Littlebut will put him somewhere.
I'm going to echo Pierce's sentiment about the AFC North, and that you've got to have a run stopper to really thrive there. My selection here is Irvin Castleberry, outside linebacker, Texas. I think the Browns will be feeling a little hard done in my mock with seeing Torero go just one slot ahead of them, who very easily could have fit in at either end or tackle for Cleveland. But Castleberry instead falls in their lap. He's a scheme fit who could fill the hole left by not one, not two, but potentially three outside linebacker departures in this contract year. The Longhorn, for me, really impressed at his combine as pro day. He was top 5 amongst qualified players in run stopping, and within the top 10 amongst linebackers in just sheer front 7 ability. That's the average of coverage, pass rushing, and run stopping, if I haven't said that already, at both events, and he was top 5 in his pro day in those as well.
nice. Well, thank you all for your recommendations. I will take those greatly to heart. Number 15, Jacksonville Jaguars. Sage, you want to kick us off?
To complete the sweep, I have the Jags taking defensive lineman Bobby Torero. Woo! Yeah, we've been talking about him for 10 minutes. The Jags have a really, really good young defensive lineman in Garrison Hose. He's awesome. The rest of that group is really, really old. Jeffrey Ahmed, Juan Zuniga, Larry Danner, they're all on the wrong side of 30. Man, let's get a young guy in there. Maybe he doesn't contribute too much his first year, but the other guys have to go at some point. Ferreira just kind of marinates, plays, first, second down run stopper, and then we go from there. But he's a really good player. The Jags already have an excellent inside linebacker in Kenny Daniels, so they can put whoever they want in front of him. But I think getting younger at that position is a priority.
I have them getting younger at linebacker. Continuing my prediction of taking Dearden's players a pick later, I have them going with Irvin Castleberry out of Texas. Just they have 2 aging starters. Castleberry's 22, one of the best run blockers that we've at the combine, and a player card that's just full of A+. So you figure he's going to get his snaps, he's going to get his time to develop, and they absolutely need some youth in that linebacker room. So I have them going with Castleberry.
I'm taking an interesting angle here for the Jags, who did not win the AFC South this year, despite being projected to by a number of pundits. And I'm going with Trey Williams, cornerback, Wisconsin. The Jaguars have a lot of talented young cornerbacks, all the good that does for them. And Williams, particularly Sean at the combine, topping out man coverage numbers amongst all qualified players, despite looking really quiet in his pro day. The interesting thing here is the Jaguars are in a spot where they might not be able to afford all of their young cornerbacks come next season, in that McCutcheon, Ceciliani, and Hilliard are all in contract years. All of them are, we have 69 overall or above, age 25, all in their contract years. In addition to signing Robert Kennedy in this offseason and keeping, it looks like, Trayvon Johnson as well from this year's extensions, they might be in the market for, let's say, trading one of those young corners away for draft capital going forward, freeing up some potential money to spend elsewhere in free agency. And let's just say, okay, we'll throw in a young corner here, put him in cornerback 3, maybe give him some reps on the special teams rework system. But that's what I we're saying like, hey, maybe you get another pick to get a second Howard next draft. We don't know. That's the smart pick for me, but nobody ever said that Jacksonville was going to be smart. So we're gonna just see how that all plays out.
I drafted
I've got to
him.
get them in where I can.
I drafted him bad players as a joke. All right. Rounding out the top half of the first round, Buffalo at number 16. I have the Buffalo Bills going with Jeffrey Boutillier, wide receiver out of Tulane. Bills have gone all in on the passing game, and Asensio, at least in the latter half of last year, actually started to finally make it maybe look like a good idea. But they've got Donald Kelly, who is 31. Donatello Scott looks pretty good, but I don't see anyone behind him being a long-term, high-ceiling guy as a potential wide receiver too. At least not the one you want your franchise to have. Chile could be that guy. Has the higher ceiling. Good enough to get his snaps now, and he's only 22, so he's only going to get better. Super close between him and Hernandez, who I still have on my board. But based on the age, I'm going with Boutillier to boost that offense and give him some future prospects at the position.
I agree, kind of. Wide receiver Tyler Looney, Indiana. Just like Drew said, they got a lot of really old guys, and then Ninja Turtle Scott, who's really good. Indiana had kind of their woes, but it was mostly a quarterback. Tyler Looney looks like an excellent prospect. Yusei Asensio looks to be turning the corner. Let's just keep loading up weapons. Minno's a very capable owner, so with the right pieces, would love to see him win a lot of games. Tyler Looney could be a piece of that, and that's who they should go with. You hear it first, Minnow. Draft Tyler Looney.
I'm going to agree with slightly less of what everyone's been saying. Completely agree with the fact that Yusei Asensio is the guy to support. I think the best way to do that's through the offensive line, specifically a guard. Wide receiver, they've got some aging guys, but they're there and they're capable right now. Offensive guard, they've got 3, so the depth really isn't there to begin with. And they're all very young, and they're all projects, we'll say. So I have them going Laurent Jimenez, offensive guard, Miami of Florida. And if that's a homer pick, sure, maybe. I didn't expect him to put up such good numbers at both the Combine and the Pro Day, where he was top 5 amongst pass blockers at both, leading his position at the ACC Pro Day. It just makes sense. If you get a good player from the draft, their overall can really jump up, particularly as we've seen the past couple of years at linemen. I think this is one that could pay dividends for them here, where they've got a position not only of need, but of depth as an issue. So that's where I'm slotting them in there.
Awesome. Number 17, Seattle Seahawks. Dearden, you haven't gone first in a while. You want to go first for this one?
Yeah, I'll go first because this one's kind of a deep pull, hot take one, maybe an unpopular opinion. I have Seattle going with Dennis Davis, a wide receiver from Colorado. He's my second wide receiver taken after Tyler Prochnow, and everyone in the comments is going, who? And I'm going to put up a reason why. And it's because Seattle has an aging route runner in Terrence Hoffman, no need to replace in the wide receiver core, who have a maximum of 2 years remaining on each of their contracts. Their wide receiver room is light, potentially going to be lighter. Seattle take a risk here. I'm going to categorically say that it is a risk on the guy who put up a perfect 10 in route running in an otherwise unimpressive pro day. That's a feat only matched by Prochnow, who's gone, Steel Blue, who's gone, and William Henry from Tulane, who never got enough love from his dad because his dad was too focused on EMS, Robles, and Boutillier. Dennis Davis is a top 5 wide receiver at the Combine. He gets his chance here. I'm excited to see what he can do.
I also have them going wide receiver. I'm playing it a little bit safer by having them take Patrick Hernandez out of Nebraska. Be tempted to go QB here if they hadn't just given Chemical Allard a 5-year extension. They clearly believe in him. So again, if you don't take quarterback, you give the quarterback weapons to help improve it. Yeah, similar to Buffalo, aging wide receiver core, need a new guy. not going to rehash old. So I agree with the strategy, just a different guy. But yeah, wide receiver is the choice for me.
I stayed on offense, but not at skill position. Guard, Darren Axford, SMU. Seahawks have multiple interior linemen, but they are past 29, which is the prime age for that position. I think they did a really good job future-proofing the tackle spot, but they just get a young, promising guy in the interior line. Just like they said, Kimoko Allard's coming back. Man, you got to at least give the guy a shot. You got to at least keep him up. So we're just going to go with Axford out there. Maybe he can stop some of these nasty defensive tackles in the NFC West. And I'm going to go again. Las Vegas Raiders. Santos Vo, defensive tackle, Minnesota. Does it make sense? It doesn't have to. But they're really old at the interior defensive line. Both Chan and White are over 30. Brian Hoymet, I believe he's 27, but he already's regressing. So yeah, let's get young, let's get good. Vo's the other half of that feared Golden Gophers defensive line tandem. Chowdhury already went. Vo's going to go here. Yeah, Raiders need some offense, but man, you can't pass the value of a really, really good defender.
Well, the James Hickson era is over in Vegas, and sure, you could leave the keys to the franchise to a fifth-round pick if you want to, or you could go and draft Paul McCullers-Sanders out of Tulane. Super accurate in the combine, if nothing else. 9.75 on the accuracy drill. And the second highest Wonderlic in the quarterback class with a 34. So, it may be a reach based on need, but I think it's a need. I'm not convinced in Ray Scott, who went 3 of 6 last year passing, to have him run that offense.
I think in my way too early mock, I had Vegas taking Hui at around 115. What they'd probably be able to do right now to make that a reality. That said, I 100% agree. Vegas needs a quarterback. I don't think it's this year. I think that Joseph Valenzuela looks like a serviceable bridge quarterback ahead of the true who's who of collegiate standouts in Ray Scott and Jeremy McNitt. That 2028 QB class is coveted already. I think that they can wait it out and see, particularly in the slugfest that will be the AFC West. They just might be the beneficiary of some, hard-nosed losses that help them rise up in that class already and say, hey, we're going to address another area of need this time around. So they go for national champion Brian Walker, wide receiver, Penn State, to sort of rejuvenate their, and I think it's only late round in UDFA receiving options right now, with blank gone. So Walker's combine route running wasn't the greatest, but his pro day itself showed that he's got this massively high ceiling and can mix it with the best of them. I have Brian Walker going here for whoever ends up being the quarterback eventually for Vegas.
Pick 19 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we had some similar ideas here. I pointed out the Steelers need a big youth movement at linebacker. I had them taking Tony Crowley, outside linebacker out of Washington State. Ran a 4.44 40. Top of the class pass rush grade at 9.5. So yeah, speed and technique both. Great edge rusher. I have them going linebacker, specifically Tony Crowley.
I agree, kind of. Linebacker Hisashi Rudolph, Penn State. He's already gone for both of you guys. He finally goes for me. All the things you said, except this guy can also play inside linebacker as well. But man, he's very versatile, very athletic. All of their guys are pretty old at outside linebacker. They've got a great offense, one of the few option run attacks in the NFL. So if there's anyone out there that can kind of be a coverage linebacker, get a pick or two, let them keep rolling on the ball with Morris, all the better. So Hisashi goes here.
I also agree, kind of. I have Mike Johnson, outside linebacker, West Virginia here. Probably another not as popular pick, but I'm taking it due to sort of administration familiarity. Uh, like we've already sort of discussed, the Steelers have an aging linebacker core with nobody really, no real superstar there to take up the mantle. Um, Honestly, plenty of options to choose from. Johnson really fits this Steeler football mold, balanced combat performance, run blocking focused, or not run blocking, excuse me, run stopping focused pro day. We've already said it before. AFC North, you got to stop the run. Mike Johnson does that, and again, with an organization familiar with his talents and ability, he just leapfrogs the other guys in a relatively dense class.
Cool. Rounding out the top 20, the New York Giants, having traded down. Sage, who the Giants selecting at 20?
The Giants select Alcettis Holden. No, I'm just kidding. I have them taking Daniel Ramos, running back, North Carolina. I love Jonathan Perez. I liked him when he came out of Army. Frankly, when we play the Giants twice a year, I focus my entire defense on stopping Jonathan Perez. That guy's awesome. Can I name many other players on the Giants? No, not really. So why am I giving them another running back? Well, it's because Jonathan Perez can't catch. Daniel Ramos should be able to catch. He was pretty decent for Tar Heels, catching balls from Igor Simeone. Rudy Stokes is old but good. This is a terrible division to be in. I hate all of you. Daniel Ramos, Giant.
Oh, man. I take note of the Giants having Matthew Madden, who was 32, and Paul Canna with that absolutely terrible potential. He was a top 5 pick, but just really doesn't have the ceiling you would want because he's not growing fast enough despite being on the board or being on the field. I have them taking Thomas Daly, wide receiver, Utah State, had a phenomenal catching drill at the combine. Also showed great lateral speed in some of his other combine drills. So I think the Giants are probably loading up for, again, maybe part of the big QB push in 28. So they'll have to wait a year for that, but Daly will be there next year to help whoever they do select.
I have for the Giants, the fulfillment of the prophecy started last season at 120. The Giants select another defensive end, this time Chris Pouncey, defensive end at New Mexico. He's going to play on the other side of the line as last year's first-round selection, again, also at 120, Kudrek Kazmarski. It's too good to pass up. Pouncey was only second only to Dimmadome at the front seven average at the combine. His, in air quotes, less than stellar pro day placed him at 4th amongst defensive linemen in the same set of drills. He's been drafted as high as first overall in some mocks, looks at Sage. So New York pulls the trigger here on another defensive end to just rejuvenate their whole young roster, set that D-line up for the future in a great spot.
All right.
And with the 21st pick, the Chicago Bears select Alcettis Holden. I'm just kidding. Offensive lineman Darius Maurer. Does it make any sense, Nemo? No, it doesn't have to. This is a guy, he can just kind of do anything. He can be guard, he can be tackle. And while I think that's maybe not the most impactful position for the Bears right now, trying to make the next leap, the quantum leap into championship glory, Maurer's just a nice, solid player. And you're in the back end of the first round, just get a guy that's very, very strong, high floor. I have no clue what his ceiling is. I haven't scouted his potential, but he should have a relatively high floor and can do a lot of things for you.
We've got a quick interlude. I have a prop for this pick. I've got some of Chicago's finest, Jepson's Malort, right here, ready. So this one's for the Bears. And their miraculous run last season. Oh man, I actually do like Malort. People don't normally. It's hard to talk. Jefferson's Malort. Get it at your local stores, malortfinder.com. I have them going Aaron Mays, cornerback, Tulsa, here. He's got this amazing zone coverage ability. He's got the perfect combine, top 10 pro day. He doesn't have a second position yet. And I say that because the Bears, at least to me, have a need at cornerback and free safety. Normally, I'd go the other way around. At both Miami and Tennessee, I plotted in free safeties at cornerback, playing like that nickel role. Um, I think Mays has the talent to be the cornerback if they want to play him there, or slot in at this free safety role if they want to play him there. Get this guy. He's fantastic. He's gone as high as second overall in some mocks. Looks at Pierce. Um, he's got the floor to ceiling that fits the role in Chicago, and then some. Just take him. Just take him here.
Thank you for putting him at least on in the first round and not making me feel like a complete idiot. Anyway, my pick for the Bears at 21 is Joe Williams. I almost couldn't believe he was still on my board this late. Stanley Segovia has shown flashes for the Bears. He has like one 40-yard run every game, and that boosts his average. But I looked it up. Last year, the Bears threw to running backs and fullbacks 117 times. And if you're going to use your backs that much in the passing game, get a receiving back. How about just go ahead and get one of the best in Joe Williams. He's got 4.36 speed. 8 scores in everything, including catching. He does exactly what you're doing with Segovia, but better and for longer. And it's tremendous value all the way here at 21. And then quickly to say, I am interested to see with this on paper very good running back class, if they end up getting taken high, or if, because there are so many good options, if they end up getting pushed down the list. So I don't know if Williams is attending the draft, but we'll see if he ends up staying in the green room a long, long time.
We'll have to take a look after this and see how many running backs we've selected, because I'm curious to hear that one.
Yeah.
But out of sort of the universe, where is the SimNFL Draft this year canonically? Does it sort of follow the real world in terms of the traveling circus?
I don't think we've ever had. We have locations for the Sim Bowl, obviously. I don't think we've ever had in-universe locations.
Okay. Future forum post, maybe starting next year we can
there we go.
Get votes going.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. Anyway, 122. We're making progress.
Yeah, we're getting there.
I'll start here with a guy I think that both of you have already discussed, or maybe it was just Sage with jokes involved. I have Santosh Vo, defensive tackle, Minnesota, going here to the Chargers. They've got 2 defensive tackle options, a 31-year-old who's entering the first of his 2 remaining fully guaranteed contract years, yikes, and a 26-year-old who's in his contract year, and he's not very good, and that's it. Outside of defensive ends who can make that pivot, and none of them really can or should, we got nothing. And San Diego I have crossed out, loves a fantastic steal. The organization loves taking players who have been either overlooked or dropped down the board and saying, ooh, we're going to get him right here, and we're going to make him a superstar. And Vo at 122 is a highway robbery. Even with a categorically poor pro day, he put up otherworldly stats in college, put up combine numbers that can demonstrate that he can really translate that to the SimNFL level. So the Chargers recharge their defensive line options with this 22-year-old who will probably be there for the next decade.
I see what you did there. I often struggle to mock the Chargers because they have so many young players at so many positions, so it's hard to find where a younger guy is going to break in. But I have been taking Trey Carter, the outside linebacker from Baylor. Really, really love this guy. Coverage linebacker is not necessarily a scheme fit for the Chargers, but they have needs at outside linebacker and need depth at strong safety, and he can do both. As one of the more interesting dual position players in this draft. He ran 4 different drills at the combine, got a 7.65 or higher in all of them. This guy just seems like a real Swiss Army knife type that will line up anywhere and defend anything. I feel like the goal is this is your Sim, Polamalu, who you just put wherever, and he does a little bit of everything. So between the multiple positions and presumably special teams, you can definitely get this guy some snaps. Get him to develop, and then wherever he develops best, wherever he fits best, I'm sure Dean would have a lot of fun, plugging him and playing him kind of a little bit of everywhere.
Echoing a lot of that. The Chargers are extremely young everywhere, but that also means that they're staring down the barrel of cap hell. And so to help with the forthcoming cut of Miguel Aguilera, I have the Chargers taking Alistair this whole. No, I'm just kidding. Again, Terrell Bernard, outside linebacker, Houston. this is kind of the only hole I see on this team. They've got William Gustafsson, who looks all right, but the rest of their outside linebackers are regressing or bad. Bernard was really, really good for Houston. I mean, he was an absolute animal, put up great stats, was a leader for that team. I think he fits in really well. Maybe they run a lot of nickel and Gustafsson's out there most of the time, but Bernard's getting a lot of special team snaps and doing good things. Maybe they run a lot of 4-4 and Bernard's out there all the time. He's a good player, and Dean likes drafting good players.
Don't we all?
And I will go again.
Do it.
Dallas Cowboys, NFC East. Man, they're really, really old at receiver, so I have them taking Elcidas Holden.
Holden.
It's Jeffrey Boutillier, wide receiver, Tulane. Yeah, they're really, really good at receiver, but they're also really, really old at receiver. Three of their top four receivers, their ages are 31, 29, and 32. Not all younger than me, but definitely all in the roller coaster downhill as in terms of blood pressure. So Jeffrey Boutillier is really young and he's really good. Great hands. He was actually actively catching balls thrown by Paul McCullers Sanders. So that's a bona fide thumbs up for me. Who's Dallas's quarterback? It's that Peter London guy. He's really, really good. So let's give him a weapon. And Boutillier is really, really good. Match made in heaven.
I have the Cowboys going with Logan Jordan, strong safety out of Stanford. Jordan, not the fastest guy, at least at the safety position, but Dallas runs that four-man spread stopper where they need two strong safeties, and a lot of guys, or they have multiple formations where a safety is playing at the second level. So I figure a guy who's a little bit stronger, has an A+ run defense grade, might be kind of the hybrid position player you need for specifically that kind of defense. Also, another place, Trey Carter, I think would fit very well if he's still on the board. But yeah, for a guy who's kind of a safety, but more of that like bandit position where he's getting up in the mix a lot more, I think Jordan could be a good fit for that specific scheme.
Pierce, I agree, not in part, but in totality. I want to first say for all of those folks out there that Rocket need to let Jonathan Callahan play. That's all. And as fun as it would be to mock another Nittany Lion to you, and I tried my damnedest to really find a Penn State player here for that bit. Logan Jordan makes too much sense. Like Pierce said, two strong safeties a lot of the time in that four-man spread. He's performed well for the Cardinal at a position that doesn't get a ton of love. Emerged as the top strong safety prospect of the zone coverage variety. He's got top combine, top pro day averages for positional archetype. I mean, he didn't play for Penn State, but other than that, it just checks every box.
All right.
And with the 24th pick, the Indianapolis Colts select Elcidas Holden, but for real this time. I have them taking Tyler Prochnow early on, and one of the things was who's throwing him the ball. Well, this is who's throwing him the ball. Holden is the light of my life, the brightest star in the sky, the reason I wake up in the mornings and slug my way through a construction job. And to see him go to Pickle Man, who's already good at using scramblers, would be truly a dream. I think the world of him. I think he's really good. I hope he gets a fair shake at quarterback. But even if he doesn't, I bet he'd be really good at fullback or whatever you guys are putting him at. Elcidas Holden goes here, first round.
As a divisional opponent who also cares about Holden, maybe not to the same degree, I sincerely hope that doesn't happen, because I don't want to have to play against him at least twice a season and or have Robinson Terrell Kareem James him. But I have, for this pick, Jeffrey Boutillier, wide receiver Tulane. I think we've discussed him a little bit already. I still think this is sad for me and my franchise because the Colts are addressing another position of need here, selecting the Tulane man who made pundits truly consider if the Green Wave offense was due to PMS or to him, the man who could catch everything thrown at him. Coming and pro day performances jump off the page. He's got the top 3 combine average, perfect 10 route running at the pro day. He's a Colt, despite finding sort of uncertainty at quarterback. Maybe it's Simmons, maybe it's somebody else. We don't know, but they've got this guy, and he's a stud.
So I mentioned in my earlier Colt selection that they had needs at defensive line, but I couldn't have them pass up Proc now. But now they get to address that with Miles Chowdhury, defensive end out of Minnesota. Yeah, just huge needs on the defensive line. This matches their scheme. I don't know what happened at the combine, but his player card is just a slew of A+, so absolutely worth a scout. And if he's anything close to what he appeared to be his senior year at Minnesota, he can fix a lot of problems for them on the defensive line. So I'm going with Chowdhury for the Colts at 24. And at 25, we have the Tennessee Titans.
I think Pierce should go first, and Sage, you should introduce it.
And with the 25th pick, the Tennessee Titans select Alcides Holden.
But actually,
this offense without Joseph Cale is going to need a new offensive identity. He had 1,900 yards. So Holden, if you want, is the new guy you're going to build the offensive around. 4.3 speed, tough to take down, and passing should be good enough to not be a liability. Yeah.
Sadly, 1,900 yards. He was, I think, one breakaway run away from 2K. But Will Atman would be so mad right now if he could both read and/or comprehend speech. Sage, I'll let you go. I think it's weird to talk about my own pick first or second, so you take it away.
All right, full disclosure, guys. I've worked over 40 hours already, and it's Wednesday, so this is kind of where my draft goes off the rails. Franklin Riggins, running back, Washington. My notes are whoop whoop, we go running back here. I hate the Titans running backs, but I think Riggins has the juice to be a good counterbalance to our boy Will Outman. That's all I wrote down. But yeah, Joseph Cale's gone. Titans need running back, especially one under the age of 65. And Riggins provides both of those things. He's young and he's good, and bang.
You mean you don't like Check's notes, Jalen Jackson Jr.? We're gonna make it simple here. I agree 100%. I have Franklin Riggins, halfback, Washington. I see a big, strong rusher. I'm gonna try and make that guy the league rushing leader. I'm happy he's under the age of 30. I'm a simple man. Hand off the ball. It's easy offense. I'd be shocked if after this came out, he's still here at 25. But as of right now, he's here. And if he's not, I'll CD all the... No.
Best fullback in the sim.
Anyway, yeah. Whoa, no. He's playing quarterback. He's playing quarterback as God intended. Since I'm yapping, I'll jump into the 26th overall pick. And Detroit's one of those teams, like Sage in Philadelphia as an administration, who just seem to get all of the things they need all at once. And I think this is another one here. I have them taking Trey Carter, Southern at Baylor. Pierce, I know you've already spoken about Carter earlier in your draft. Just going to, really, really slide it in here with the fact that he put out the best average front seven numbers for an outside linebacker of any archetype, both the combine and the pro day, finding himself in the top 5 of both amongst all sort of position players. So that's, linemen and linebackers. But the kicker here for Detroit is Carter has the second position as strong safety, a position where Detroit has 2 rostered options, both in contract years. So Carter can play linebacker, he can play safety. It's fantastic. Just let the guy play. Take him here. 26th overall's done.
Saying they have 2 raptured players is a great way to call people old.
Did I say rap? I said
No,
rostered, but that
I
might,
know you
that
misspoke,
might
but
be
it sounded like you
worse.
said raptured. And as a person with my background, all I could think of was them dying and ascending to heaven, which was funny.
I mean, they might. There's still time. That's what happened to Joseph Hale. He's gone. He's in SimNFL heaven.
He's in Valhalla now.
Not with Wayne Reimer. He's in hell. Um,
So I've been reading too much Rick Riordan to my kids. So
free agency. Um,
where?
anyway, does anyone else have an outside linebacker?
Oh, for Detroit, yes, I have Detroit at 26,
Yes.
taking Terrell Bernard, outside linebacker for Houston. Um, Detroit has this confounding thing where they have a bunch of edge rushing defensive ends and a bunch of edge rushing outside linebackers. Those two things don't go together. Those don't both get scheme bonuses. That's not that's not a thing. In case, just in case the Lions don't know that,
Could be.
that's not a thing. And I don't know where they play them. Maybe they move. I don't know. But at outside, you need different outside linebackers. Um, so Bernard is actually a scheme fit. Who had a 4.4 40 and a 39-inch vertical. Tested well at combine. He's got an A plus in speed, IQ, and tackling. Yeah, get a guy who actually fits your scheme. Please, just yeah. So Terrell Bernard.
Lions are taking Steel Blue, tight end, Kansas, in a oops, Mackey guy still around. It actually kind of fits. Frank, what's his face, is 30 plus for the Lions, and their other guy is so unmemorable that I don't even know his name. So Steel Blue, he looks really good. He looks really fast. He won the Mackey, and more importantly, Bundy hates him. So it's going to be even funnier when he goes to the Lions and plays them twice a year.
A steel blue Detroit Lions jersey would go double platinum.
Ooh,
Just that goes so hard.
damn, that's true.
I forego him going to, I think it was the Vikings in mind. Send him to Detroit.
Just for the jersey.
Blue on purple doesn't work. Blue on blue. Oh, give it to me. Do you guys feel that the rails we're off?
Yeah,
off
we're getting there.
The rails are gone.
We're going faster than I thought we would, honestly.
Wait. Yeah.
27,
Anyway.
Kansas City Chiefs. I have the Chiefs taking James Livingston, running back of Virginia Tech. Livingston absolutely lit up the combine. 888 inside run, 8.67 outside run, 875 catching, 4.36 40, 41 bench reps, 42 vert. Just absolutely crazy combine. Could be a weapon for David Chop in the passing game, but also has the chops to actually carry the ball 20-25 times and not make Chop do everything in the passing game. Just an absolute weapon for that offense that's already very prolific. And we've seen in the sim how running backs are one of the few positions that really can, just regardless of overall, put up some big numbers from their rookie season. So I have him going to Kansas City here.
I agree. Kind of. We're back with that bit. I have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Matt Van Roten, MVR, halfback Penn State here. He is still available at 127 in my mock. And this is a man who I had going 1-1 in the way too early mock. So I think a lot of him. I just think that there's a lot of teams who have other positions that need to fill, and somehow the reigning, I don't know if reigning is the right word, but the GM of the year swoops in and snags this man who could not be happier, paycheck be damned, because the Chiefs fancy themselves Super Bowl contenders. And Van Roten, he can only hope he can do the championship double. And that's something, do we have stats on that? Has anyone done that yet? The college football championship plus Super Bowl?
Symbol?
Someone in the comments will say it, I'm sure. But I was curious as I was writing this. But, he's got the best remaining rushing average from both the Combine and the Pro Days. as far as 127 goes for me. He slots into a Kansas City offense that is in between optimized schemes. They run the wing T, last I saw and last I checked, but he can thrive as both a rusher and receiving option out of the backfield. He is gonna do absolute disgusting things in Kansas City if he's there. That's really it. I think that they're gonna love him.
I agree, except Geis is nice, guys. Rip Cagridge. Sergio Geis is nice, and you need to put some respect on that name. He's, solid 4 yards per carry guy, and while his profile picture is extremely bolding, who isn't? Who isn't? We're all men here. We get it. We get the game. This is sponsored by Hims or something.
Hims, yeah.
I
hate that I knew that was going.
Outside linebacker Michael Peterson, UMass. We're going to a Sage deep cut. Yeah, he tested really well at outside linebacker. I've had a couple outside linebackers already go in my mock, but I think this kind of fits into a spot where the Chiefs might be looking for a young body with high potential going forward. Now, does he have high potential? I have no idea. But he looks to have a high floor, and that's kind of what matters. High floor and then snaps. But yeah, I'm a believer in Sergio Geis. I think he is quite nice, and I'm going to just roll on to my next pick. As I said, kind of coming off the rails here. With the Washington Communists pick, the Chargers have selected defensive end Douglas Dimmadome Jr. because he is here. I'm just, Dean likes guys with high overalls. I'm guessing this guy has a really high overall. It thought it'd be funny. T. Sweezy could have had a shot at this guy, but he traded his pick away. DDJ, welcome to the Chargers. Do they need a defensive end? Not really. Will Dean figure it out? Yeah. Go Charger.
If it makes you feel better, I think they could do with another defensive end, so it's not really, just a slight on Sweezy. Anyway, moving on. I have them selecting Thomas Daly, wide receiver, Utah State. I don't think it's a secret the Chargers were looking to acquire a young, impressive wide receiver in the offseason, Will Huber, to help their passing attack, and that they were willing to sell the farm, Edwin Garcia, in 3 firsts to do so. Garcia's entering his age 29 season. He's still got value, but the wide receiver core behind him and Richard McGuire's not much to write home about. Daly enters the scene as another steal because Dean and the Chargers really love those. He's placed second amongst all qualified players at receiving at both the Combine and the Pro Day. He's top 5 receiving average across both events. He's got high floor, the biggest stage. He's going here. And, maybe we'll see what Garcia or McGuire can garner in a trade.
I have Chargers going with Darius Maurer, offensive lineman from Penn State. This might be overkill, given how much Dean loves to constantly tell everyone about his very young offensive line and how good they're going to be in a few years. But seems like an absolute force in the run game. So I think he would just be the latest name on that list. And again, Dean, not a stranger to trading away guys once he drafts younger ones to replace them. And Maurer is a run blocking tackle guard, so he can play 4 different positions on that defensive line. You can plug him anywhere. So really versatile piece and makes a very strong offensive line unit even better. So yeah, strength upon strength for the Chargers. Go with another lineman. At 29.
And with the 29th pick, the Green Bay Packers from all the way across the pond select free safety Caleb Murphy, Virginia. Let's see. Timothy Sultan, their current free safety, is 33 years old. The fact that he's on the field is a modern miracle of medicine. And while they have the extremely talented J.C. Gentry, Utah product, sitting in the wings as a 68 overall as a 24-year-old, Caleb Murphy being selected here may be the death blow to my son's career, or this was just a high level, convoluted excuse for me to talk about JC Gentry to the viewing public. The world may never know.
Get those clicks. Chris, I'm gonna let you go first here because my analysis sort of plays into yours.
Okay.
Or is contingent on yours. Yeah.
Okay, so I have the Packers taking SimNFL, defensive tackle. I think I'm the last one to bring him off the board, so it would be a steal for them. Um, Leon Payne and David Buckheit are very good players. They're also 32 and 35, just desperately in need of some young blood on that defensive tackle position. Bo's got surprising speed for defensive tackle, knows how to get after the quarterback. Anyone who's been in the Big Ten in the last few years has seen that. So yeah, again, an intersection of need and great value if we're still here at 29 for them to pick him.
I agree with the analysis, kind of. I have Caleb Rankin, defensive tackle, Florida State. I think this is a bit of a gamble to select the Seminole here to play alongside the former FAU man, Terry Callis. There's something about those Brits in Florida as the Packers' next generation of interior D linemen. I think you mentioned both Payne and Buckheit. They're on the wrong side of 30 and then some. And it's only a matter of time before they have to, hand over the keys to the new guard. Rankin impressed at the combine, putting up the second best numbers for defensive tackles, only behind Santosh Vo, who is off my board by this point. And he could be likely to fall past the late first or the second because of his pro day or lack of pro day, not because he did poorly, because he didn't have one. Caleb Rankin didn't have a pro day. There was no FSU coach there to, get him to perform in a pro day. And for a position that is overperformed in recent years, defensive tackles have put up just sickeningly beautiful numbers. Look to Rankin, and I'm going to call my shot now at 129 to potentially be the steal of the draft in retrospectives to come.
All right. At number 30, I have the Miami Dolphins selecting Franklin Riggins, running back Washington.
He won't be there.
Okay.
Sorry. I'll see he's holding.
This is I think my fifth back in the first round. Listed as a power back, obviously, but showed impressive speed, great hands at the combine. Moore is turning 30, and Corey Brockers is Corey Brockers. And so let's give Miami a true young first-round talent, if he's still there. So I have been going with running back.
And bait Kirby into trading past Tennessee to get this guy. But it's in terms of my pick, because I want to save Sage for last, I have Miami taking Michael Stonebreaker, inside linebacker from Marshall, which is probably the most metal name in the sim that I've seen. We have Russell Craw at Miami entering his age 32 season with no clear replacement in sight. Whether he retires or his contract expires, whatever comes first. Stonebreaker's a like-for-like successor. He's in the top 10 amongst qualifying running linebackers, I'm thinking about Franklin Riggins and all the dirty things he could do for Tennessee. Stonebreaker was top 10 in front seven skills at the combine, topping all qualifying players in front seven at his pro day. So all the pro days, Stonebreaker beat out linemen and linebackers. The real question here is, at least to me, whether he slots in at outside linebacker as a rookie, or if he sits behind Craw at inside linebacker as Miami searches for that real team need, which is the AFC Championship. Sage,
Well,
talk about your boy.
very critically, the Dolphins have a 36-year-old punter, which means clearly they're going to draft offensive guard Francisco Santiago from Utah. What do you get a team that kind of has it all? You get younger in positions where you are old. And so even though he is not a punter, they are old at interior offensive line. and kind of offensive line in general. They've kind of pushed the chips pretty far in to protect our reigning MVP, and so some of these contracts are going to expire. Some of these guys might just retire, and when they are out of the door, Santiago will be there to swoop right in and get that starting position somewhere on that offensive line.
At 31, owning the Denver Broncos, oft passed around first round pick, the Cleveland Browns select Michael Stonebreaker, inside linebacker for Marshall. Again, Dearden continuing my tradition of taking your players one pick later. Browns, we love our linebackers. Our current guys are both Pro Bowlers. Once were Pro Bowlers in the same year, in fact. But they're 33 and 30, and it's time for some new blood at the position. Stonebreaker looks like a true 3-down guy, a guy who can do it all. And so if he's still there at the bottom of the first, would be great value and definitely a need, something that even if he's not getting starter snaps right away, no more than a year out, looking at the ages of guys like Lewis Dell and the price of Lewis Dell as well. Yeah, what do you do? You get younger at a position where you're old. Stonebreaker would be a great fit for us. And the name is just you can't put a price on a name.
It's
like
fantastic. It's a fantastic name. I agree partially, and I do think that we're incongruent in our thoughts here, because you both had him going at 1-7. I have him going at 131. I'm calling this a second choice. I have Kevin Robles, inside linebacker, Tulane. So Pierce, I'd love to hear your thoughts afterwards, but I have Cleveland settling for him after being pipped to Stonebreaker by Miami. Stonebreaker performed Robles at the Combine and the Pro Day, but Robles truly showed out of the ladder, second only to Stonebreaker for inside linebackers, and third behind Trey Carter, who we've talked about already, and Stonebreaker for all linebackers at front seven drills. Robles addresses that aging out of contract situation that you've already talked about for your own team. And should he prove to be as special as he appears, or his dad, K Green, says he is, he could truly find himself as the starter come the start of the regular season. And I've ended with the sort of tagline, that's not too bad for a second choice, but for both of you, that might be a first choice.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose if both are there at 131, maybe we'll telegraph Stonebreaker or Robles 131 if they're both there.
I mean, I had Robles as a top 10 pick, so based on public information only, I think they're both pretty special. I think Robles might be slightly more special based on what he showed. Again, the combine was weird, but it was weird for like the whole linebacking group. So look at the larger body of work, I say.
Extremely loud incorrect buzzer noise. The correct answer was consult with LLB first.
Of course.
No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, Sage, I've been waiting for this one all night.
With the 31st overall pick, and this is in our shared Google sheet, the Cleveland Browns select Daho Whitehead, running back, Houston. And the note just goes, Daho goes here because bleep you, that's why. I was hoping for Pierce to just read that.
Okay.
It actually, hear me out, kind of makes sense. Ryan Wilson, expiring contract, and he sucks. Lou Avery, expiring contract, and he sucks. Travis Cole, actively being on the trade block, so I guess he sucks. And Roy Clark has a terrible name, so of course he's bad. But you know who does not have a terrible name? It's
Brian
Daho
Johnson?
Whitehead.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Sorry, I jumped you there.
Yeah. So just get a body, get younger. Ryan Johnson is in there, but he is already past prime age, and all these other guys are bad. That's all there is to it. Because bleep you, that's why.
Because bleep you, that's why. And At number 32, our defending champions, the Los Angeles Rams. Um, I've been going with Miles Hernandez, offensive tackle. If he's there, again, this is far lower than either of you guys had in mock, so he might not be. But, I got there in the end. We got to talk about the Rams and how they desperately need to get youth on the offensive line. So yeah, they have 2 picks, and they should spend one of them on an offensive lineman. For God's sake, I don't want to keep saying this every year. Los Angeles, please draft an offensive lineman just so I can sleep at night. Anyway, that's all. I'm done. Or so Philip Avila can still sleep at night.
I think Philip Avila sleeps soundly at night with that Super Bowl ring on.
Mm-hmm.
Just coddling it.
Whenever he wears it.
So, you know where. You know where. Sage, I'd love to have you go first just to end on the one that I have. Because you're also not an offensive lineman. Or you are not an offensive lineman, rather.
So with the 32nd pick of this year's NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Jordan Wilds, tight end, Tulsa. My notes are Kenny Slumba old, Isaiah Albuquerque bad, Wilds fast, Rams like Tulsa product, Ooga Booga. It kind of fits. Avila's still there. Wilds is fast. Vertical threat was one of the 3 finalists for the Mackey. And yeah, just like I said, Slumba's old and Albuquerque sucks. Wilds is a great fit.
And I suppose to wrap us out here, I do have the Los Angeles Rams selecting offensive lineman here, as both Pierce and I seem to really hope they do, after, at least in my mock, selecting Tyler Prochnow at 1-6. And Pierce, it's your son. It's Timothy Doak, center, Indiana. And believe me, I tried. I tried to look for a quarterback to mock here, just for shits and gigs. It didn't work. I don't think they can ignore this offensive line predicament much longer. I do think they're going to take a sort of unorthodox approach and take a center here at the potential of we can play him at center or guard. But they're reigning Super Bowl champions, so what are we to really question what they do as mere non-champion peasants? They grabbed Doak here. He put up the second best pass blocking numbers at both the Combine and the Pro Day. Just full stop. Full stop. And, God forbid the Rams do anything but pass. So there's only really one metric that matters when you're talking about offensive linemen. And truly speaking, with that level of product and his, line of work at Indiana, he can find himself starting at center, transition to offensive guard. Hell, send over to tackle, who it could probably work out. I think he's a fantastic pick here to address that sort of offensive line problem in a unique way. It's just going to be a matter of where he lines up for the Rams next season.
Fun fact, because he's my boy, Doak allowed 2 sacks as a 4-year starter at Indiana. And I know one of those years. I know one of those years the stat was bugged, 1 year, but that's still 3 years as a starter. He allowed 2 sacks as a freshman, and that's it.
Pretty good. Get your Timothy Doak here,
and I will talk him up until he gets drafted and then some, because he's fantastic.
I agree.
Oh.
Not partly, I agree.
Oh, I'd love to see it. And that concludes our final 3-way mock draft for 2027. Yeah. That's I can't wait to see how terribly proven wrong we're going to be next week.
Oh gosh.
Draft weekend is one of my absolute favorite. It's my favorite sim weekend of the year for sure. So very much looking forward to it. I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts, any crazy predictions, any hot takes. I know we've said a lot of words about a lot of very good players over the last hour and a half. So no pressure, but want to give you a chance to speak before we sign off. If you have any last thoughts.
I'll get a quick question for the panel since we gotta, sort of bring things full circle. Which teams do you both think are most likely to trade up to pick 1 or pick 2 overall to snipe Arizona from Hui?
Uh, I
Obviously,
think
we didn't talk trades, so
Mm-hmm.
I think if the pickle man wants to, he can. With the Colts having multiple first rounders
Mm.
and Baltimore actively shopping, I don't know about Miggy. I think he's getting married like in 2 weeks or something. So good luck to him. Best of luck
congratulations.
to that. And Wabbit is around kind of. So uh, yeah, I think the Colts have the ammunition to get up, but do they want to get up for Hui? Uh, Maybe, or they're just going to sit at 4 and see if K Green, goes in a different direction and gets Hui anyways. But yeah, if I was a betting man, Colts.
Hmm. Yeah, they're already sitting at 4, and with the second pick, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the rest of the top 10, and if you're specifically asking about quarterback, I mean, Rams still got Avila. Minnesota just re-signed Sinnock. Um, the Jets, I don't know. I've already traded up once. Would they go up again for a pocket guy? I mean, they're on this stretch where they keep renting quarterbacks, but I don't know. I don't see them going pocket. Detroit's set. No, Saints are set. San Francisco is set. Atlanta. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I think Indianapolis, but I think there's a possibility that because the Patriots can't take both we and Proc now, that Baltimore is going to have no shortage of suitors for that number 2 pick for one of those two. Um, and whether they move it, preemptively, or whether teams wait to see what the Patriots do at number 1 is possible because I don't know if we've mentioned this yet officially or not. Uh, but picks on the clock are happening this year. So you can, as long as the clock isn't at 0, as long as there's time on the clock, you could announce a trade, and then we'll do it in the moment. Um, so teams do not have to guess at what the Patriots are due. You can, work something out ahead of time potentially, and then trigger it after the pick. Um, Assuming everyone plays nicely. Um, so yeah, I think Baltimore will have no shortage of suitors because if it's whether it's we or Proc now or neither, someone's going to want to move up for one of those guys. Colts do seem like the most likely option for either one, um, but we'll see.
I think an interesting question for you two. Should the Patriots move on from Oliveros and get Hui? Like, eyes wide open that none of us have scouted him. Like, should they pull a Josh Rosen into Kyler Murray here? Like, would you pull that trigger if you were Miggy?
Man,
It,
it's
Caddick,
it's
yeah.
it's tough.
Pierce, you go first.
It, he didn't play well, and that low potential really seems bad. I also though I don't feel like they gave him the fairest shake. Like I don't feel like he was running the ball much the first half of the season. He just didn't have a lot of carries. Um, so I don't know. I think if you're not gonna, yeah, I think you try to get a king's ransom from someone who will, which is probably what I would do. I would try to get 2 or 3 first round picks, one or more this year, or maybe like a 1 and a high 2, and then a 1, and then another 2 or another 1. I'd try to absolutely, get someone who will sell the farm for it. Um,
I think the categorical answer is no for 2 reasons. One, again, I don't think Oliveros had a really fair shake this past season. I think we all sort of mentioned he wasn't getting that sort of running support, wasn't getting the ball. That was his game. Kentucky, it was both. It was passing, rushing. You got to do both. That's how he unlocks his game, and he wasn't having that. Number two, the potential. I think Nuke hit it in his mock earlier this evening. Despite the potential, he still went +4. Like, that's not bad. It's serviceable. He's, I think, entering his age 24 season. He was 23 entering the draft. There's a lot of work to do with him, and I think that the value for money of that 1-1 pick, and I think I said it at the top of this program, they got to shop until the last minute. Like, this would have been a lot more valuable if, let's say, Dick Richards declared this year, and they would have gotten a lot more out of this pick, I think. But there are folks, again, I think we said Proc now, which, upon looking at some other mock drafts that are out, all three of us are very late on Proc now. That he's gone 1 and 2 and at maybe 3 in most of the others. So you both at 4, me at 6, being the crazy person here, apparently that doesn't know ball. Like, New England holds the keys to the castle here in terms of how they want to rebuild around Oliveros. And if they could get, like Pierce mentioned, 2-3 first-round picks, that's a couple linemen, that's a safety, that's a tight end, that's a linebacker that they could probably need. And we talked about a lot of great prospects over the last hour and a half that they could just go and snag. And the only reason that at least Pierce and I said, hey, this is the guy you're getting, is because someone else had a bad pro day at 1-1. So, like, they could very easily take this and turn it into a momentum changing draft if they trade this pick away and stick by the guy they sort of chose.
Yeah,
should probably stand by.
Yeah, I'm leaning toward not a quarterback at the very least in this year. Give him one more year. Try to build around him. Try to do something in his needs. And if it doesn't work, well, 2 seasons is a much stronger resume than 1, and there will be some options in 2028 that you can choose from. So that's my final thought on that. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was a lot of work in a very little amount of time. Mock drafts are no joke, as anyone who has done them will attest to. A lot of work goes into them, so I appreciate everything you did to produce those, and then showing up tonight to talk about them and knocking them out one at a time. If not before, at least Dearden, I will see you next weekend for the draft. Sage, safe travels and such. Yeah, we'll fill you in on all the juicy gossip when it happens.
Quinn and I are actually going to be sharing AirPods at the bar. We'll just be listening in as Ace Wolf drafts Alcides Holden at 13. It's going to be awesome.
Alcides Holden.
Shots for everybody.
Good. Just have that clip ready of you saying that in case we need to air it on the draft.
Oh, it's getting clipped, I'm sure, by somebody. I'm sure we've produced a lot of clip-worthy statements, and I'm sure we're going to get flamed in the comments, but hey.
Well, it's not like it's going to live on the internet forever.
No, not at all.
It's fine.
I'm not like that.
I introduced myself as Dearden. I don't even know what you guys did.
SageBow.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just Pierce, because the government name out there is going to be marked for life.
Yeah. Yeah, my face is everywhere. I'm tied to this league, whether I like it or not. Though now we have a thank you for the sponsorship, Dearden. At least now we have our sponsored segment.
Don't forget Sage. We got 2 sponsors. We got Malort and Hims talking about male pattern baldness. It affects.
Yeah.
What's the ad? Is it 1 in 3 men?
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
Looking, yeah, that would track, wouldn't it?
Anyway.
Appreciate you guys. If people are still listening after this long, thank you to you too. We'll see you for the draft in a week. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.